Hey friends, I'm here with founder Latoya Dwight, and she's got something amazing coming up in July. Now, July is a special month, and it is Fibroid Awareness Month. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Awesome, awesome. Now, I wanted to just touch base and first and foremost ask you how you're doing.
I'm actually doing amazing. I feel good. I'm thriving. But before we even get started, I just want to tell you thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I know there can be thousands of other people in this very seat at this very moment, and I totally do not take it for granted. So thank you so much for allowing me to have my voice heard. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. This is such an awesome cause that you have going, and it really is something special, and I wanted to make sure as many people heard about it. But I wanted to, like I told you just behind the scenes, is I actually was not too familiar with what fibroids were, and in fact that I was confusing it with thyroids. So I was wondering, could you tell us a little bit about what fibroids are?
Yeah, so in a nutshell, uterine fibroids are non-cancerous tumors of the uterus. Statistically, about 70% of humans with the uterus, some people refer to those individuals as women, they will develop fibroids within their childbearing years, so before age 50. So we're talking between age 12 and age 50. About 70% of humans with the uterus will develop fibroids. Some are asymptomatic, some are very symptomatic. So to answer the question, fibroids are non-cancerous tumors of the uterus.
How can that affect a person day to day?
Oh, wow. There are so many ways that it can affect you. One of the most common symptoms is what's called menorrhagia, which is very heavy and or prolonged menstrual cycles. I know individuals who have had menstrual cycles lasting 30 to 45 days to a point where they actually became anemic and had to get blood transfusions on a regular basis. I know, matter of fact, one individual I know, she would go to the ER almost every single month to get a blood transfusion to a point where they actually knew her by first name. So menorrhagia is one of the most common. Other symptoms are pica. Because you have very heavy and or prolonged menstrual cycles, it's very likely to become anemic. And when someone is anemic, they develop what's called pica, which is actually the urge to eat something with non-nutritional value, such as ice or cornstarch or something like that. But more serious symptoms are reproductive issues. It can help you either prevent from getting pregnant altogether, or it can also cause miscarriages. It can do what's also called for the egg to get implanted into the actual tube. There are so many other things. Also, what a lot of people don't realize is the mental health aspect of it. Because you're scheduling your vacations around your menstrual cycle, because you're scheduling your outings with your best friends around your menstrual cycle, what ends up happening is that it just causes a lot of mental health issues as far as anxiety, depression, inability to really develop relationships with people because of the concern that your menstrual cycle is going to, cause some issues. Also, as an adult, it's very embarrassing to have an adult accident. And a human with a uterus who has uterine fibroids can literally have an accident by simply doing nothing but going from a sitting position to standing.
Wow.
They can sneeze, they can cough, they can laugh. They can literally do nothing but just sit here and have an accident. So those are a lot of the reasons a lot of people don't even talk about it. They do what I call a silent suffering. They suffer in silence. And some of the other symptoms would be things like heart palpitations. That can actually cause cardiovascular issues, because if the fibroids are blocking blood flow to and from your limbs, it can actually start your heart to palpitate. So this can actually develop into cardiovascular disease. A lot of people are not very familiar with fibroids. And as I mentioned, about 70% of humans with a uterus experience them. 80% are Black women. And so because of that, it's very, very important that the word gets out there. To be 100% honest, Black women, Black humans with a uterus, we are one of the fastest growing degree earners. We are one of the fastest growing business owners. We are one of the fastest growing CEOs of companies. And because we are such an intricate part of the community, of the workforce, we need to have the support to allow our voices to be heard. So I know you just asked what that is, but what are some of the symptoms? But I just wanted to make sure I did mention that as well.
No, of course. Yeah, that was super informative. And it's just, it's one of those things I think prior to even 50 years ago when we as women didn't get much of a say or a vote or a voice on things. Now these problems are coming to light, and it's so amazing that there's all this research and information and education out there. I have to ask, how did you stumble upon this? What's your personal connection to this?
In all honesty, I stumbled upon it by mistake, based on my own personal experience with uterine fibroids. Then, about 10 years ago, my then boyfriend, who's now my husband, he and I were dating, and we both agreed that we did not want to have an unplanned pregnancy. So I got on an IUD. And the reason why I chose the IUD, because I travel quite a bit for work, and I didn't want to forget to try to take a pill or anything like that. So I wanted to do something that I did not have to remember taking every single day. Within a certain number of years, the IUD needs to be replaced. I went to go get the IUD replaced, and my OBGYN, who I had been going to for over 12 years, she couldn't locate it. She asked if I took it out, and I'm like, no, I didn't know that was a thing. No, I didn't take it out. So she sent me to ultrasound within her office visit setting, and the ultrasound tech was able to locate the IUD, but she also says, hey, by the way, how are your fibroids coming along?
Wow.
And I go, what's that? And you can tell by the look on her face, she was like mortified. And she was just a little bit cavalier. She goes, well, I'll let the doctor talk to you about it. So I got dressed, went back in with my doctor. And again, this is all within this, we're talking an hour and a half, right? Get back in there with my doctor, with my OBGYN. And she's just kind of very robotic going through the process and the procedure of me having to reschedule my appointment now that so much time has passed for me to come back to have the IUD removed at a later date. And I stopped and I said, well, can we talk about those fibroids that the ultrasound specialist mentioned? And so she's like, oh yeah, they're, you can come out, they're just going to grow back. And so we can actually get you scheduled for a hysterectomy. And I go, well, hold on. What are they? You haven't mentioned what they are. How did I get them? Are they hereditary? Or, are they within my DNA? Are they sexually transmitted? Is it caused by the IUD? Like, she gave me no information to go on. So I started to pose different questions, and almost verbatim, she said, well, they're just like kudzu. If you cut them out, they're just going to grow back. And if you can imagine, someone comparing your womb to kudzu, you're confused, you don't understand what your body's doing, and you're left with that answer by someone who you entrusted for over 12 years. That's very devastating. So I left feeling confused, upset, angry, scared as hell. Excuse my language. And I called my boyfriend, and he's like, we'll just talk about it when you get home. Talked about it. And that added another layer of anxiety and confusion and scaredness, because I didn't have the tools or the knowledge to really convey to him what was going on with my body and what diagnosis I just received. Kind of getting back to the mental health aspect of it. So I'm type A. I have a type A personality. So I started to go full-fledged into doing my own personal research. I read medical journals. Some I understood, some I did not. I read scholar articles. I read white papers. I read any and everything you can probably think of. I went through different coaching programs. I went vegan. I did the whole eat for your blood type diet. I did qigong, yoga, breathing exercises. I did just about everything that I knew how to do over a 4-year span. And I eventually decided to have uterine fibroid embolization, UFE, which is also known as uterine artery embolization, or UAE. And that's basically where they just cut off the blood supply to the vein or artery that's feeding the fibroid. And I posted on my personal Facebook page about it. And the reason why I posted about it is because while I was under anesthesia, my husband took a video of me, and I was talking about the land of the Smurfs, which I coincidentally just posted about the other day on my social media. And it was kind of lighthearted, like, hey, haha, welcome to the land of the Smurfs. But by the way, if you're experiencing this, don't hesitate. Do something about it now. And I received the onslaught of text messages from people I had not seen since high school. Mind you, my son is 29 years old.
Wow.
So we're talking a very, very long time. I was getting DM messages from men who said, had I read your story sooner, I probably would not be divorced. Other individuals saying, if I would have read your story sooner, my 22-year-old daughter probably would not have gotten a hysterectomy at 22 years old. So I'm literally processing all this. And I remember the exact day where I was and where I was standing, and tears started to run down my eyes because I knew at that very moment, that very day, that this was bigger than me. And so I was talking to one of my best friends. She goes, just start something. I'm like, well, start what? She goes, you'll figure it out. And I have figured it out. I've started the fibroid pandemic. After doing my research, I realized this is a global pandemic. It's global. It's not just domestic. We're talking millions of women, millions of humans with a uterus. And so that's exactly how it got started. I know that was a long answer, but
no, and you took me on such a beautiful story. At parts I was also tearful. It was heartbreaking, but hearing you come out as a hero and, as a voice and an advocate for women, it's so incredible and empowering. And, I was actually just about to ask, you've got this medal around your neck. You've got this amazing cause you're here for. Can we jump into that and talk about your 5K and what exactly people can expect, how to sign up, and what they can do to make a difference?
Yes, so it's called Run Far 5K. This year's a second annual Run Far 5K. It is a 5K run walk. You can walk, jog, crawl, whatever. The main goal is just to lock arms and run far together. So FAR is an acronym of Fibroid Awareness and Resources. It is a family-friendly event. It's a 2-day event. So on Friday, July 14th, 2023, 2023 is going to be what's called a Fibroid Brunch. And it's going to be at a boutique hotel right here in Atlanta. I have 10 experts who specialize in womb wellness, reproductive issues, hormonal issues, mental health. And they're going to be there just to basically educate the masses on how to identify what your body's doing, how to overcome fibroids. And the goal is to walk away feeling empowered and having the tools that you need to really help you make a decision that you feel is in your best interest. Day 2 is going to be the actual Run Far 5K run walk, which is on Saturday, July 15th, 2023. As I mentioned, it's a family-friendly event. It's going to be right out here in Powder Springs at Still Family Farm. And this is the second year. I'm excited about it. First year was actually in 2021, so 2 years ago, in which my largest sponsors were the Honey Pot and New York Life Insurance Company. They're one of our 2 largest sponsors. And it went off without a hitch. Actually, maybe about 3 to 4 weeks prior to the date, it was kind of a suggestion that I may want to cancel it because not that many people had registered. Usually your first 5K run walk, you may have maybe, about 50 people max if you're lucky. I ended up having about 140. So I didn't do it last year. I fell really ill. I got sick, and I thought it would be best just to take care of my health. That was non-fibroid. Actually, it was fibroid related. Now that hindsight is 2020. But so this is going to be our second annual Run Far 5K. So again, Friday, July 14th is going to be the Fibroid Brunch, and Saturday is going to be the 5K run walk.
That is incredible. How can people sign up? Where can they get more information? You have this awesome website. I was checking it out earlier today. So how can people get to that website?
Yeah, they can go to www.runfar5k.com. That's RUNFAR, runfar5k.com. It gives you all the details on the Fibroid Brunch as well as the 5K run walk. And to be very honest, I thought of everything. You can participate in person. If you show up, make sure you come and find LaToya so we can take a picture and hug each other. You can also do it virtually. And virtually what happens is you log online, you register, you go out on your own to your 5K run walk, then you log back in, you log your enter your time, and then we will mail you your finisher's medal and a t-shirt. If you love the cost but you really don't have any intentions for whatever reason of actually participating, you can be a ghost or a phantom participant. You can gift a registration to someone else, or you can even donate to our 501c3, which is called Pad the Pandemic. And pad is a double entendre for padding as in eliminating. And it also means padding as in toxic-free sanitary products. And the vision of Pad the Pandemic is to help eliminate period poverty and unnecessary hysterectomies.
That is incredible. LaToya, how can people follow you personally, hear more about your story, and see everything you're doing?
Absolutely. You can go to thefibroidpandemic.com. You can also follow the Fibroid Pandemic on Instagram. And there's also a private Facebook group as well called the Fibroid Pandemic.
Now, what can we expect to see in the future, a little bit down the line? What do you have up your sleeve? I know you've got something.
So you're hearing it here first. The Fibroid Pandemic will be launching our merchandise. So I have a shirt that I got it actually made for myself. And I've gotten so much response about it, like, oh my God, where can I find that shirt? So I have decided to go ahead and launch my merchandise. You're going to see it first at the Run Far 5K Run Walk. That's where it's going to be. I'm going to do a small introduction. And secondly, which again you're hearing here first, is the Fibroid Pandemic will be launching our provider directory. And the provider directory will consist of doctors, whether they provide minimally invasive procedures, if they specialize in major surgeries, mental health experts, so on and so forth. It's going to be like a directory that people can go to when they're looking for fibroid solutions.
Absolutely. What would you say to a woman who's on the fence, may feel like they're struggling, not even sure if they're struggling with any type of health issue whatsoever? What would you say to that woman?
That's a great question. Number one, I'll say a couple things. Number one would be act sooner than later. You owe it to yourself. Get back into the driver's seat of health and take your life back. If you continue to sit there and do nothing about it, it's only going to get worse. The other thing I would say is to take an inventory, audit your body, be more attentive, get more in tune with yourself to figure out and to identify what your body's doing. When you're always extremely lethargic, you're tired, pain during intercourse, things like that, just pay closer attention to. But the third thing, you also want to really start focusing on what you're intaking. Not only mentally, what you're intaking mentally and emotionally, because those stressors can really help actually contribute to the fibroid growth, but also the food that you eat. Eliminating all dairy. I know the ice cream is good, but put it down. All dairy, all fried foods. I personally have not eaten beef knowingly or willingly since 1997.
Wow.
This was way before the fibroid diagnosis. I haven't eaten pork since I was 16, again, way before the fibroid diagnosis. So just be very attentive. But the other thing is to make sure you're really minimizing or eliminating a lot of processed foods. Even if you're eating frozen, people think, that's healthy. And there are certain elements to it, but a lot of them have a ton of added ingredients, all the processed items. Just feel free to, not feel free, I strongly encourage you to eliminate that from your diet as well.
Awesome. Incredible. You guys heard it here first. I'm here with founder and fibroid fighter, Latoya White, and she has this amazing 5K run happening this July, and you don't want to miss it. To keep up with me and all this amazing content and great conversations just like this, you can follow me on all social media at itsme_Alyssa D. And be sure and follow Odyssey at Odyssey, AUDACY, for exclusive conversations just like this. And don't forget to keep up with Star 94 across all social as well. That's at Star 94 Atlanta. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.